Every once in a while, there is the end of a generation that we can see. And I think this week, we saw some of that this week when it comes to the end of a generation. And what I'm referring to is Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. They both looked pretty close to done. Now, Tom Brady, at this point, him being done is an honor because he is old, like old. Like he's not even like old for, you know how like in the NFL we'll call somebody who's 35 old, right? He's not old for NFL standards. This man is old for like normal people. Like if you saw a Tom Brady walking the street at the club, you'd be like, well, if you saw a Tom Brady at the club, you'd be like, why is this old man at the club? Like he is literally old. No offense to anybody who's old, but the brother's old. Well, Tom is old. So like him having a downturn is more miraculous at this age than it is. And you can say the same thing for Aaron Rodgers, who's not that far behind him. With Aaron Rodgers 38, I think Tom's like 45 or something like that. So, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, no, Tom's not 45. He's like 42 or something like that. Somebody in the chat tell me Tom's actual age. But they both look done as of making this video. And look, you can make the argument that Aaron Rodgers is having a fine year. Quincy, what are you talking about? 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 1,800 yards. That doesn't sound like Cook to me. He has a 38.3 QBR. That's 27th in the league. 27th. You don't want to know who's down there with him. It's terrible. Terrible. And you can tell me, oh, QBR don't matter, all this stuff. QBR is a good stat. It's a good stat. He's coming off a 20.4 QBR game against the Buffalo Bills in a game in which, usually having Aaron Rodgers means that you have a chance to win the game. Right? That's usually what this thing means, is that you have a chance to win because you have Aaron. They had no shot in beating Buffalo. It was evident. They lost to the Commanders, the Jets, the Giants. Like, these aren't impressive losses. It's concerning. Now, which one's more concerning? I would say Aaron Rodgers is more concerning because, yes, you can make the argument for Tom that he doesn't have a great offensive line. He's old. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He ain't got it right now, right? Like, he ain't got it. Aaron, on the other hand, like, this is a drastic turn, right? From 2 MVP seasons in a row to 27th in QBR. That's a drastic dip. That is a drastic dip. That is what they call falling off a cliff. Like, shockingly bad. They are 3-5 right now with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. I mean, how does this look like he's anything but cooked at this point? And we're seeing this with Russ. We're seeing this with Aaron Rodgers. We're seeing this with Tom Brady. And even though all 3 of these quarterbacks were drafted in 3 completely different eras, right? Tom was like 2000 or 2001. A-Rod was 2005. And Russ is 2012. Age comes at you at different times. But boy, when it comes, it comes. I was watching Tom Brady try to throw a football on Thursday Night Football, and it was sad. It was sad. I don't know if Tom Brady fans have accepted the reality that Tom Brady's cooked. I don't know, because this like, what Tom Brady looks like now is what Peyton Manning looked like at the end. Like, just done. There were just like a bunch of routes he couldn't throw anymore, couldn't get enough mustard on the ball, relying way too much on trying to be crafty to get anything done. Like, just a complete absence of anything that made him a superior athlete at quarterback. And when I say that, I mean like arm strength and pocket mobility and stuff like that. He's so limited now. And he wasn't necessarily the most gifted athlete to begin with. But now he's just extremely limited. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers used to be able to be escapable. Remember that when he was slippery A-Rod, running, throwing on a run, making crazy plays? He don't do that no more. He don't do that no more. He's not accurate like he used to be. That arm strength is not there. Matt Stafford's another guy you could throw in the Cook category. Like, it's so crazy how quarterback play kind of had this wave, right? Where from 2000 to 2014. Well, no, I would even go all the way up to 2016. From 2000 to 2016, there were like barely any stars added, right? It was still the same old guard. It was Drew Brees. It was Peyton Manning. It was Tom Brady. It was Ben Roethlisberger. It was all these guys that were drafted like before 2010. And then with like maybe a Cam Newton sprinkled in there for a couple of seasons or Andrew Luck sprinkled in there for a couple of seasons. But pretty much from that era, right? From 2000 to 2016, it was the hardest it's ever been to find a franchise quarterback. And then from 2017 to 2019, there was just an explosion of franchise quarterbacks. It was like the league knew that they were not developing enough stars at the quarterback position. And then for those 3 years, nothing but stars came out. We're talking about, from all the way to 2020, actually. Add 2020 in there, right? Because if you look at all the new faces in the league, Pat Mahomes, 2017. Deshaun Watson, even though he's not going to be a face of the league when it comes to advertising, still one of the better young quarterbacks in football, 2017. You look at 2018, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. I mean, those are two huge names right there. 2019, you get Kyler. 2020, you get Herbert, and you get Joe Burrow, right? Like, those are, seven guys right there? You'd be hard-pressed to name 7 stars drafted in that 15-year period between those two drafts, right? From 2000 to 2016, like, name me 7 guys that you feel like are as good or better that got drafted in that period, and you can come up with, like, Tom Brady. Even though Tom might be, Tom, you come up with maybe Andrew Luck. You know what I mean? It's hard to do it. So there is this weird gap when it comes to quarterbacks of the super young hot dudes that are changing the league, right? The ideal of what it takes to be a quarterback. Like Aaron Rodgers is a good example of this because Aaron Rodgers, for those of you who watch football before like 2015, before that, Aaron Rodgers was known as a mobile quarterback, right? Like people talked about Aaron Rodgers in the same vein as like Russell Wilson, even though he was always better from the pocket than Russ. But they talked about him as both, a scrambling like quarterbacks who can move around and be slippery, right? That was A-Rod's game. He was an athletic quarterback, or considered to be an athletic quarterback, right? That's why Joe Burrow got compared to Aaron Rodgers. Deshaun Watson got compared to Aaron Rodgers. Like all these guys coming up now, they got compared because that's what A-Rod was for so long. But then 2017 happens, 2018 happens, 2019 and 2020 happen, and then the ideal of what it takes to be a mobile quarterback has completely changed to where now Aaron Rodgers is considered a statue. Right? The ideal of quarterback play has changed so rapidly in those 4 drafts. Think about it. 4 drafts in a row completely changed the paradigm of what a quarterback is. Right? Now you don't want to draft a quarterback who can't move, right? Carson Strong, unless you follow the draft, you won't be familiar, but he was like this big 6'7" quarterback from Nevada, big strong arm, big old dude, slow feet, can't run. He went undrafted. A dude like that in like the early to mid 2000s would have went in the 3rd round at the very least, just off of size. Like we're not that far removed from Brandon Whedon going in the 1st round. Blaine Gabbert. You can even say Blaine Gabbert. It's insane how this paradigm has completely shifted because of the strength of the 2017 draft and the strength of the 2018 draft, and more so the strength of the 2020 draft than the 2019 draft, but Kyler Murray was in that draft. So the strength of those 4 drafts has completely changed this to the point to where Aaron Rodgers looks completely weird out there, right? Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, these guys who are the old style franchise quarterbacks, they look out of place. It's crazy how this thing has changed. And I think this week was a perfect example because what did we have? We had 2 quarterbacks from the old era, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, go up against 2 quarterbacks from that new era that I just talked about, right? Those 4 draft classes. And they both lost. You know what I mean? Tom Brady lost at home on a Thursday night. You know how hard that is to do? Couldn't even come back late in that game. This is an end of an era, and I think as time goes on, we're going to look at those drafts from 2017 to 2020 as like a true paradigm shift in how we look at quarterback play. Because think about what used to be passable from the quarterback position and what's unacceptable now. It all changed in those 4 years. But that's my thoughts on this whole thing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Y'all have a great day. Have a good night.